Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving last week. We're kicking off today's Team Kentucky Update the way we often do, with great news on the economic development front. Since the beginning of my administration, we've now announced more than 910 private sector new location and expansion projects that total approximately $28 billion in private sector investments, a record under any governor, and now over 49,500 new jobs created. One way that we're keeping our red hot economic momentum going is by being proactive and intentional in developing build ready sites across the Commonwealth. Today, I have some exciting news on that front. The John Will Stacy MMRC Regional Industrial Park, located in Moorhead, adds to the state's growing list of properties certified as build ready by the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development. Speed to market is so important, and these sites are available statewide for companies looking to locate in the Commonwealth, start construction, and get into operations as quickly as possible. The site includes a 150,000 square foot graded building pad on 22.4 acres, and the MMRC Regional Industrial Park has over 280 acres available for development. The industrial park is less than 1.5 miles from Interstate I-64 and about 65 miles east of the Bluegrass Airport in Lexington. The Build Ready program has continued to grow over the last several years. It seems like just about every time we certify one of these sites, it's only a matter of months before we have an announcement of a new tenant and more jobs that are on the way. So I'm excited to see this momentum come to and continue in Moorhead. The work we're doing right now is paving the way for companies to choose the Commonwealth as a home for their business, bringing with them quality jobs and opportunities for communities across the state. I also want to congratulate Mitsubishi Electric US Inc. on the approval of a $50 million award from the U.S. Department of Energy to support plans to establish a factory here in the Commonwealth to make high-efficiency variable capacity compressors for the all-climate heat pumps. This announcement is incredible news for Mitsubishi Electric US and for the Commonwealth as we work with the company's leadership to find the right home for this project in Kentucky. The award comes as part of the President's Investing in America program, and my understanding is this is the first of its kind that this federal cabinet has never invested in electric heat pumps before, and the first time they're doing so is here in Kentucky. Finally, on Tuesday, I joined leaders at DHL to get a firsthand look at the company's investments they've made really over the past 10 years, almost $500 million of investments and expansions. They have in the Commonwealth about 3,800 full-time jobs for Kentuckians, and just in July announced a new $192 million project creating a maintenance facility and new gates at CVG Airport in northern Kentucky. DHL is a global leader in mail delivery and logistics. Since 1983, the company's invested hundreds of millions of dollars here in the Commonwealth. Just in the past decade, DHL has made 6 major announcements totaling more than $470 million. This is a great employer, a great partner in northern Kentucky in terms of what they do. This is one of Europe and the world's largest companies, and their most significant operation in the United States is in northern Kentucky. They also help the Commonwealth paving the way for the Amazon facility that's up there, which they allowed to use the DHL facility during the day while they operated at night, while Amazon constructed their own facility in northern Kentucky. This is a really large employer. Needed to see and meet and talk with them firsthand. The tour is pretty incredible about what's going on, and it continues to show the revitalization and the recreation of that airport into now just an economic development leader for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I'll now turn it over to our First Lady for some updates on the upcoming inauguration, and then be back with a few other pieces.
Good afternoon. Andy and I are excited and thankful to be preparing for the upcoming inauguration on Tuesday, December 12th, here in Frankfort. The 60-second gubernatorial inauguration theme is Forward Together. This theme is really important to Andy and me, as we want to pay tribute to how Kentuckians have come together and gotten through so many hard times over the past 4 years, and how together we have moved forward to arrive where we are today as we build a bright future. Kentuckians have met every challenge with love, compassion, and empathy for one another, and that is exactly how we must approach the next 4 years. So today, we are happy to make more inauguration-related announcements. First, I am pleased to officially announce some of the members of the Forward Together Inauguration Committee. These are some really special people who are helping lead the way with efforts to unify Kentuckians from every corner of the state. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet Secretary Jim Gray is chair of the inauguration. Mitchell Denham and Nicole Yates are co-chairs. Our honorary co-chairs are Rodkey and Leah Atkins, J. Michael and Joan Brown, the late Tommy Elliott and Marianne Elliott, John and Heather McConnell, and Jonathan and Kelly Rabinowitz. We are so excited to have them serve in this special way. The first inauguration event on December 12th will be at breakfast reception taking place at 8:30 a.m. at the Thomas D. Clark Center for Kentucky History. The breakfast reception is hosted by the citizens of Frankfort and Franklin County with music by the Kentucky State University Faculty Student Jazz Collective and other artists. Food is provided by Kentucky State Parks along with 3 local bakeries. At 9:30 a.m., we will hold the inaugural worship service at First Christian Church. This will be an opportunity for Kentuckians to come together with faith leaders from different traditions across the Commonwealth and lift one another up as we prepare to continue moving forward together. Seating is limited, but the event will be streamlined online on First Christian Church's Facebook and YouTube pages. For those in Frankfort, the Frankfort Plant Board will also carry the service on channels 10 and 510. At 11 a.m., the inaugural parade will start at Capitol Avenue at the end of the Main Street Bridge. We are very proud to announce the Grand Marshals of the parade, healthcare workers who guided Kentuckians through the global pandemic and natural disasters, and public school educators who continue to lead Kentucky's children into the future. The parade will tell the story of Andy's first term in office, governing through a time of unprecedented adversity, capitalizing on game-changing economic opportunities, and moving Kentuckians forward together. The parade will feature individuals and groups that played a major role in the story of the last 4 years, looking back at both our struggles and our successes before giving way to the young people who will bring Kentucky into the bright future we have ahead of us. We can't wait to see the smiling faces of so many Kentuckians at the parade, but if you can't make it in person, it will also be broadcast on KET and streamed on the KET website. Following the parade, we will have the inaugural prelude on the Capitol steps at 1:30 p.m. Kentuckians can also watch the prelude on KET, which will feature music from our talented artists from across Kentucky, including the 202nd Army Band of the Kentucky National Guard and the Kentucky State University Concert Choir. At 2 p.m., we will have the swearing-in ceremony at the Capitol, which will also be broadcast on KET, where Andy and Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman will officially be sworn in to serve Kentucky families for 4 more years. Seating is available for the public, and visitors may line up along the Capitol's front steps to watch the ceremony. Andy's senior advisor, Rocky Atkins, will preside over this ceremony, which will feature a musical performance by Tyler Childers and a reading by Kentucky Poet Laureate Silas House. Following the swearing-in, we will have the Grand March in the Capitol Rotunda at 6 p.m., which will also be on KET. The evening will conclude with the inaugural ball at 7 p.m., which, due to overwhelming interest, is a ticketed event. We are really looking forward to all of these Inauguration Day festivities. I also want to remind Kentucky kids about our inauguration poster contest. For us, it's important that Kentucky kids lend their talents to the inauguration celebration. What better way to do that than through art? School-aged children from across the Commonwealth are invited to send us their poster artwork depicting what they think Kentuckians can accomplish in the future by continuing to work together. The 5 winners and their families, along with representatives from their schools, will be invited to the Capitol on December 12th, where we will recognize them as part of the inaugural celebration. The winning work will also be framed and on display in the Capitol during this time. For more information about the poster contest and all inauguration events, visit the inauguration website on the screen, kentucky.gov/inauguration. This is a really special time for Kentucky. December 12th will be a great day for our Commonwealth. Cannot wait to share it with everyone. Thanks.
All right. Next, an update on the Cavis rollout. The new year will bring a new system to modernize and improve car and boat services. The final phase of Cavis, which stands for the Kentucky Automated Vehicle Information System, will roll out in January to fully replace the current outdated system called Avis. The change of systems means many common vehicle services will be temporarily unavailable as they switch systems. This will mainly affect anyone who plans to sell, buy, or renew a vehicle in Kentucky in January. Starting Monday, January 1, your local county clerk's office will not be able to process vehicle and boat registrations, transfer titles, or issue license plate and disabled placards. Online vehicle registration renewal will also be down. The good news is the following week, batches of county clerks will resume services each day. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet expects the entire state to be back up and running by the end of that week. In January, you can check with your county clerk to see when they plan to resume services, since it will vary by county. It is important to know this system change will not impact the issuance of driver's licenses at the driver's licensing regional offices. Users of the system will enjoy several efficiency improvements once it is in place to serve Kentuckians better, and we're thankful for the input of the clerks on how we've modernized this system. One benefit Kentuckians can look forward to as a result of the change is that they can choose from more than 20 new specialty license plate designs that promote some of their favorite Kentucky nonprofits. More information is available at drive.ky.gov. Now an update on disaster recovery housing. At first light after the tornadoes in western Kentucky and in the floods of eastern Kentucky, I was there, making the promise that we would rebuild every home and every life. It's a promise that we continue to keep. Today, I have another update on new housing as we help these families get the fresh start they deserve. In the West, we are quickly approaching the 2-year anniversary of the devastating tornadoes. While there's still a long road to recovery, I'm proud of the work of so many people, local officials, nonprofits, and we have come a long way. Some of the most special moments I've had as governor is handing keys over to families that had been displaced, watching kids run in and pick out their rooms, watching the community and partners come together to stock the fridge on day one or provide the different equipment and supplies that we may take for granted. But if you've lost everything you need in your new home. Many of these home building projects are possible thanks to the generosity of donors to the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund. That fund raised more than $52.3 million to help survivors with immediate and long-term needs. $21.6 million of that has been committed to the construction or significant repair of 300 homes. I want to thank our nonprofit building partners for their tireless work on these projects. Homes and Hope for Kentucky, Habitat for Humanity, the Mayfield Graves Fuller Center for Housing, the Fuller Center Disaster Rebuilders, the Hope Initiative, and the Mayfield Graves Long-Term Recovery Group. With this funding, construction is completed or underway in 9 counties, with 63 homes in Graves County, 55 in Hopkins County, 13 in Warren County, 11 in Ohio County, 4 in Caldwell, 4 in Fulton, 2 in Christian, and 1 in Hickman, and 1 in Marshall. That is 154 homes, halfway to our goal of 300, and the work continues. The exciting part is the pace continues to pick up. In the West, we've gone from rebuilding a home to building new neighborhoods. And every time one nonprofit has reached their limit, another one jumps in. Really exciting to see how both Dawson Springs and Mayfield will be some of the newest towns in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Exciting to see how the housing is being built to be able to withstand even what they went through. It's a lot of incredible people working really hard. In the East, we've now announced 7 high ground communities that, once completed, will provide homes to at least 500 Kentucky families. Again, the generosity of donors to the Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund is helping to make these projects possible. The fund raised over $13.2 million to help survivors with immediate and long-term needs. Over $3.2 million of that is committed to building homes for flood survivors in these high ground communities. The 7 high ground sites are in various stages of preparation for building. To be eligible for federal funding, we have to go through a pretty significant environmental permitting process that takes time. We can't even build an access road into it before that permitting is approved without sacrificing any of those federal dollars for that individual site. That's about $300 million that we simply have to build those homes. And so it's really at the point that the permitting gets approved that we can move forwards and significantly. The good news is that some of those are complete, and the infrastructure work has begun at 2 sites, the cottages at Thompson Branch, where I believe we will dedicate our first home before the end of the year, as well as Skyview, that has some significant infrastructure work that's going into it. But boy, once there, just outside of Hazard, is gonna, I think we have 100+ homes just in the area that we have secured, with a lot more acreage in the same area. The fund is also committed an additional $3.6 million to rebuild individual homes, not on the high ground, but on areas that are outside the floodplain where we know we can build or repair. We're providing funds for significant home repair with Nonprofit Partners Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky, Housing Development Alliance, and Homes, Inc. To date, that part of the fund has provided over $1 million for 14 homes, including 1 home in Breathitt, 1 home in Martin, 1 home in Owsley County, 2 in Knott, 3 in Perry, and 6 in Letcher County. And I must mention the incredible work that is being done by the coalition of nonprofit builders. They're appropriately named Housing Can't Wait. The Housing Can't Wait partners have already built 34 homes and provided repairs to over 218 homes that are now habitable for the survivors. They have 123 homes and 120 rehab homes in the pipeline. They have also received funding from multiple sources, including the Kentucky Rural Trust Fund and the Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund. We are proud to support their work. To our Western and Eastern Kentucky families, Lieutenant Governor and I aren't going anywhere. You're going to see us week after week, new home after new home. We're going to get this job done over the coming years. All right, Winter Weather Awareness Week. Historically, Kentucky has experienced extreme winter weather, including the Arctic weather and polar plunges we saw this past winter. If anyone needs any more reason to be weather aware after the last several years, just remember on Christmas Eve last year how incredibly cold it was, and the few days before, how it was dangerous to travel, how we reached negative temperatures most of us thought did not or could not happen in Kentucky. So today, I signed a proclamation declaring December 2nd through 9th as 2023 Winter Weather Awareness Week. We have overcome unimaginable weather events in the Commonwealth, and we've lost far too many people through them. But my hope and what I've seen is people becoming more and more and more weather aware. And even when we faced cold, the likes of which I had never seen, that could have easily taken the lives of dozens of Kentuckians, we have responded by looking out after each other and by doing what it takes to protect ourselves and our families. And we need to be prepared for whatever weather comes our way, be it snowfall, ice storms, freezing rain, tornadoes, flooding, or extreme cold. I signed this proclamation to emphasize the importance of educating our people about the risks associated with winter weather and to show that Team Kentucky is dedicated to the safety of every single Kentucky citizen or anybody living within our borders. The next week is an excellent opportunity for communities to prepare and educate the public about winter weather risks. Some ways you can do that are, first, preparing your home for winter, like insulating pipes, using space heaters safely, and making sure your carbon monoxide detector is working, and making sure you have enough supplies in case you have to stay home for several days without power. Remember, in most cold weather events, we lose more people from having a generator too close to the home or by carbon monoxide poisoning that gets in the home than we do from the actual weather itself. This is an important message to continue to spread, and that carbon monoxide detector could be the difference between life and death, because you don't know that you're being exposed to carbon monoxide oftentimes until it's too late. You need to create an emergency supply kit for your car. Remember, in the polar plunge last year on I-71, we had a couple of accidents over about a 2-day period with tractor trailers. That creates really long backups. Those that had this emergency kit were in better shape. Remember, we had our National Guard going up and down the road, helping people out. We didn't have any even serious injuries through it. But in your supply kit, put jumper cables, sand, a flashlight, warm clothes, blankets, water, and non-perishable snacks. And remember, when you're going out in winter weather, you need a full tank of gas. Ensure that emergency contact numbers are readily available. They should be in your car. But for more information and tips, visit ready.gov/winter-weather. We are going to have more of these events. It's just what we're seeing across the country and across the world. So let's adapt. Let's be prepared. Let's make sure you have this kit and the things you need in your home. By taking these actions, we can not only protect ourselves and our families, but in the event that there's somebody that hasn't taken those steps, we can show the generosity, love, and empathy by reaching out to them, whether it's bringing them in our homes or in our car if theirs isn't prepared, to make sure that in any of these events that everybody is safe. All right, on Saturday, December 9th, Brittany and I will be joining the Frankfurt community for one of my favorite things we do, the annual Christmas parade and state Christmas tree lighting, and I hope we see you there too. There'll be local food trucks, games, and a lot of other fun activities starting at 6 p.m. because it gets dark really fast now on the Capitol South lawn. That's between the Capitol and the Annex. It's become a wonderful space for these events. After the parade, we will light the state Christmas tree around 8 p.m. And of course, Santa will be in attendance. Looking forward to seeing all the kids that come out. In this giving season, Brittany is seeking unwrapped stuffed animals and journals to donate to Zero V, the statewide coalition of domestic violence shelters. All donations will directly help them provide shelter and support to survivors and their children. We're working through our employee open house we do every year, through this Christmas parade and tree lighting, as well as the inaugural worship service, to try to bring in these donations to Zero V, so that child who may have had to flee in the middle of the night, leaving everything behind, has that stuffed animal, that toy, those things ready for her or him when they reach a place of safety. We hope to see as many of you there. With the holiday season approaching, I want to encourage Kentuckians to consider shopping local and supporting small business. Our main streets are filled with local businesses that make our communities unique and can provide a unique gift for those you love in this Christmas and holiday season. The Kentucky Main Street program recently launched the Peppermint Trail, encouraging us to support our small towns, local businesses, and artisans during the holiday season. By supporting small businesses, your dollars stay in that community. It helps your neighbors. It helps your local economy. When you can shop local, you should. To find out more about the Peppermint Trail, visit heritage.ky.gov. Additionally, the Kentucky Arts Council has launched a one-stop shop webpage featuring gift ideas based on Kentucky artists and businesses. From performing artists and culinary delights to original stories from Kentucky writers, museum memberships, one-of-a-kind crafts from local artisans, and more, there's something for everyone. For holiday inspiration, please visit kentuckytourism.com/holidays. Finally, an update on the CSX train derailment. It was the day before Thanksgiving that I had to declare a state of emergency following a CSX train derailment in Rockcastle County. This allowed the state to activate resources beyond the county, including Kentucky Emergency Management and the Energy and Environment Cabinet's emergency response team that did the air monitoring so that we would know when things were safe. They were joined by local and county firefighters and emergency responders, a CSX hazmat team, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Region 4 Emergency Response, and the R.J. Corman Railroad Group, and multiple environmental consultants. 5 of the 16 rail cars that came off the tracks were carrying molten sulfur, and at least one was breached, causing a fire that burned until Thursday. Rockcastle County Judge Executive Hal Holbrook Jr. declared a state of emergency for the county and encouraged those living in the town of Livingston to evacuate. Thankfully, it was temporary. By Thanksgiving evening, residents were able to return to their homes. I want to compliment local officials for the job that they did, really looking out for their citizens, fully on top of the response. It was a one big team response. But the local officials in the area, mayor, county judge, all their local firefighters and the rest, you could tell that they had taken their training seriously by how they responded, and then the efforts that were made through the Red Cross and then a local hotel paid by CSX to get anyone who did evacuate immediately in lodging. Evacuation of the derailment site has now been completed and the track repair is underway. Recovered rail cars will be cleaned and removed. Air monitoring will continue during the phase of cleanup, and precautionary surface water quality monitoring is being performed by CSX environmental consultants. I want to thank everyone who was a part of this response, something that could have lasted much longer. Yes, ended up displacing people, but by a little less than 24 hours from beginning to end. So grateful for the men and the women who showed up, who gave a large part of their Thanksgiving day to make sure that things were safe for everyone else. That's why this week, these heroes are our Team Kentucky All-Stars. I want to thank each of these incredible folks for their work. The Kentucky Emergency Management Group that was down there, CSX and their workers who responded, all of our first responders, including the Livingston Fire and Police Departments and volunteers and departments from across the state that traveled and helped. I want to thank Judge Executive Holbrook. I want to thank the Livingston Mayor, Rockcastle Public Schools, who are, of course, there ready to help, Pine Hills Church, local restaurants who helped donate food, and local residents who offered up their land to allow all these folks to work. There's so many more that could be named, but for a train derailment, which we see across the country when they happen, can take a significant period of time. This response was quick, and the displacement was thankfully temporary and short. So thanks again to these all-stars. All right, with that, we have 3 journalists here with us in studio and 1 on the line. We'll start where we always start, with Tom Latek.
All right, thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. Looking for an update on the status of the remodeling work, renovation work being done on this building here. The scaffolding's been around for about 2 years now. And then I guess when that's done, then it's going to go to the inside, and everyone who's inside is going to be moved out while that period while that work is underway. There are about half dozen news agencies, including mine, that rent space there. Are you going to find a place for us to go?
Yeah, we're working through all of the challenges that come with the massive renovation that's currently proposed and has at least been partially funded in past budgets of this state capitol building. It is in significant disrepair and needs major work. However, government still has to operate and continue. Therefore, we're looking at some potential changes to what was the original schedule that would have had everybody out at the end of this session and out for several years. That schedule will be modified. If we currently followed that schedule, there would be no place for a special session if necessary, and with some significant economic development that's going on right now, with the weather disasters we faced and with other unforeseen potentialities, we have to at least make sure that we have the ability in this building to host a special session until the temporary facilities are completed, which is going to happen on the parking lot, which will then host the House and in the Senate. So we'll be looking at a revised timeline to put out that will have to push back the start of significant construction. I will tell you, I'm also watching a couple other things, like inflation is going down right now. I want to make sure that when we fully bid this out, that we do it in the most cost-effective way. Certainly the recommendation has been one big thing all at once. And while that is still the current plan, I think it is wise for us to consider and make a number of potential plans that could create various cost savings. The dome is on track. It was always going to be a very significant process. So what had to happen was scaffolding that allowed workers to safely remove the tiles. The tiles, like everything else, are historic, and so each tile is sent off to make a cast of a new tile that goes back on the Capitol. So my understanding is that the tiles are now off, the new tiles are being built, and then those tiles will be replaced on the Capitol dome. So that's a little in the weeds, but I'm a little in the weeds when it comes to this Capitol reconstruction. But I'd say that it's going to be at least a little bit fluid with the amount of work that's being proposed to be done all at once and a huge price tag that is on it. Carolina.
The United Auto Workers Union announced campaigns to unionize more plants across the country, and the union president said that one of their strongest campaigns is for the Georgetown Toyota plant. What are your thoughts on this effort, and are you supportive of it?
Well, I am a pro-union governor here in Kentucky. I'm grateful for UAW at what they've done to ensure that so many Kentucky families can put food on the table, that have better benefits and better wages. Toyota is also a very important employer here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and they've recently made some really significant commitments. This will ultimately be decided if it reaches a vote by the workers within the facility, and they ought to have the right to make that decision. That's how all of these go. I do want to compliment Toyota for having a very attractive wage and benefit package, but certainly know that the UAW is out there committed to their members, and their one goal is to try to create a better life for our auto workers. Tessa.
Good afternoon, Governor. With the Tyler Childers announcement today, we've seen that you cultivated relationships with Jack Harlow. We've seen you with Tyler Childers before. Can you talk a little bit about why you developed these relationships and the benefit of them?
I've had opportunity or blessing to get to know a lot of talented Kentuckians, and that's how I approach it. Proud of a guy like Jack Harlow that at 24, not only is this mega star, but moved back here to Kentucky, and that's a pretty special thing and a pretty special story that talks about a really special place. We've developed a good friendship, but the thing I love about him as a public figure is how proud he is of his home state and his hometown, and how much that helps us in a lot of ways. Tyler Childers, I got to know when he played the Appalachian Regional Commission's concert, and you could tell how important home and place is to him. With him particular, it's in Eastern Kentucky, and with him up for a Grammy this year. What a great story it says about Kentucky and Kentuckians and the talent that we have here. And Tyler's music, like Jack's, is so unique. And I think that's a pretty special thing for this state. But what we're seeing right now is, whether it is in entertainment or in other areas, so many Kentuckians not only succeeding, but really proud of being a Kentuckian. And I think that's really important as we are rewriting our history and we're writing a new future. When we're becoming an economic powerhouse, it's exciting to see these really successful people step up and talk about how much they love Kentucky. This is a special place to be and to live. And as all these jobs come to Kentucky, these are ambassadors whose music and stories are going to help recruit more people who want to come and who want to live here. I can't mention Tyler, though, without mentioning his wife, also a very successful artist, and their work that they do in Eastern Kentucky, and their foundation is pretty special. Got a chance to meet and know her and to hear about their little one, which is pretty neat too. All right, virtually we got Gil McClanahan with our last question coming out of Huntington, West Virginia.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Governor. Can you hear me? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I wanted to ask you. Good. I wanted to ask you about the General Assembly session that's coming up in about a month. The Republican Senate leadership is in Pikeville for their retreat. I interviewed two of the senators, and I asked them about your relationship with the General Assembly, generally speaking, and they said that it's virtually non-existent. The one senator I talked with said he had a great relationship with your dad, but it doesn't have one with you. I know you signed. You told me when we talked before the election, bipartisan bills, but they said you did little, if any, work on those when possible. What's your response to that? I mean, do you see yourself needing to have a more improved relationship with the General Assembly?
Well, I'm encouraged by the early talks that we've had, the meetings that we are setting up. I'm encouraged both that we can continue a good relationship, and encouraged on some issues that it looks like people are open to talking about, and steps that this Commonwealth desperately needs to take. Listen, campaigns are hard to come off of, and that's still a lot of what you're hearing. I mean, on sports betting, we were talking to the sponsor, every day, every other day. Medical marijuana, and so many others. When we banned gray games, I believe we called the legislators into our office for what needed to be done there, that we started that with leadership, though they had pushed in the last session. So listen, I don't want to get in the back and forth about how we describe the relationship. Let's put it this way. We gotten a whole lot done, right? And whether that's me being out in front running with them, or me being on the side, or me being quiet in the back, it has worked in a lot of really important ways. But I'm encouraged about what's coming. We've had some outreach, both from legislative research and outreach from our side, that appears very positive at the moment. I think we're going to be meeting with leadership of each side, certainly in the coming month before the session, and then already setting up a number of meetings on the budget, especially with the Senate. So, I don't know, because of politics and partisanship, that if you ask, you will ever get a response of, oh, we work great together. I'm just not sure our world is there right now. The partisanship is so severe, it seems like you're not supposed to say a nice thing about the other side, even if you've worked together and done some good things. I'm beyond all that. I want to be the adult in the room. I'm not going to say negative things about them, because however the relationship has been, listen, we got medical marijuana and sports betting passed that people said would never pass while I was governor. Apparently the relationship was good enough to get them passed. We got a good budget passed the last time. We had, I think, 4 one-hour meetings with the Senate on trying to craft a portion of that budget. So, again, Gil, there's the talk, there's the reality, but in the end, there's a future that I think is going to be really positive. I hope this session, either with the General Assembly or the relationship here, doesn't devolve into some of the things that sometimes you see, and that we focus on simply moving Kentucky forward, not to the right or to the left. So I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Thanks to everybody who gave me most of the day off yesterday for my birthday. Feeling 46 doesn't feel any different than feeling 45, but ask me tomorrow. I'm only one day into it. Thank you all. We'll see you back next week for the Team Kentucky update.